Aloha, everyone. It's November 2nd, 2025. And exactly 16 years ago, there was something revolutionary that can save your life as well as lives of your loved ones. So pay very close attention because there are, like the FDA, drug companies, those types of powers do not want you to know what I'm about ready to say. This is revolutionary. It's part of the at least top 1% of intelligence that the 99% below that is unaware of. So it's really important that you pay really close attention. You see, the number one killer of men and women is heart failure. And here we have actually this study published by Circulation exactly, again, 16 years ago. And now it's buried under 16 more years of science under, well, since it's the number one killer of men and women, it's one of the most researched and published topics. So now it's just buried under 16 more years. And unless we do something about it, that trend could easily continue. They've already done it for 16 years, buried the most powerful study we've ever seen for the prevention and elimination of the number one killer of men and women. This is something they've known about, and we know that what we've been through since 2020 has only increased the risk of those things because it's weakened constitutions across the board. So unless you learn the most powerful actual science, because then I think it just totally changes the game for you. It's like a rewrite of your matrix, at least on the genetic side of the equation. See, I'm a bioprogrammer. I don't really call myself a biohacker. I don't necessarily like that terminology, biohacker. I am a bioprogrammer, have been for over 30 years. My father was over 30 years before me. I was his top student. And so here we have this study, Circulation. It was initially suggested because of the past president of the American Heart Association was on the review committee of the very first study that was done. It was a human study. It was an herbal formula, supplement, a pill a day with a meal. That was the first NRF2 activation supplement. And this is that study again. This is revolutionary, you guys. What we have here, it mentions the name of the supplement here on the first page, and that's mentioned 23 times at least throughout the 26 pages of this PDF. And the FDA, they don't like anyone talking about this. They basically, we got the message that they require us to show you the whole study to make any mention of it. The link on the first page is now a broken link, which was to be made available by the American Heart Association. And now it's a broken link. And also they used to have a search engine where you could just type any key search words from the main website and have access to every article they've ever published. They've also disabled that option as well. And it didn't take them long after this was published to do that. Now, there's a lot of people, even RFK is talking about how science that exposes the drug companies gets deleted. Well, this is one of those things that actually, this is what they are most afraid of you hearing and learning about right here, because they artificially created high blood pressure until 100% of the right ventricles blew out. And in this, with the NRF2 activator, with the same pressure overload, 100% did not blow out, like zero blew out. Okay, so no humans wanted to volunteer because of 100% failure the first round. So this was an animal study. We had already done a human study and learned what we needed to from that. Full in vivo means full human beings taking a pill a day with a meal. And these are peer reviews that I'm talking about. These aren't just papers that people wrote in their garage, but these are involving multiple universities following the same steps, all sending their information before the review committee. Each member of that is an expert on the field of science being published. And this is where only 5% of these get published, because 5% hit that bar. It's the highest. It's like the gold standard of medicine. So has been for many, many years. So this is what type of study you're looking at, is that type of peer-reviewed science. And it's the strongest thing we've ever seen. And it was published on a supplement. Now, everything prior to this, if you were to search under supplement in the American Heart Association database, it was all articles training doctors how to deal with people that were bringing information to them about a supplement. And it was all negative, except for this one. And it's the most powerful thing we've ever seen. So here are like the 3rd page, 4th page. You can actually get access to this from me personally, if also you want a clearer version of this. But this is it. 8, page 9, page 10, 11, 12. And here's the even supplements. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26 pages, as I said. So there you go. There you have it. We actually, again, with artificially creating high blood pressure, had 100% blowouts. Then with the same pressure overload, with the Nerve2 activator, 0 blew out. And here's a little bit more of why that happened. Why was a supplement able to do that? Because it wasn't the supplement alone. It was a God particle being activated. And this is the new model that replaces the whole pharmaceutical model from my map of things. And I have pretty extensive map of things. I consider I don't just live in one world of science, but I like to integrate all the worlds and understand them as much as possible, how they work together. So integrative medicine. And that's how we work. When we're integrative, we're learning new things, we continue to integrate, and one truth doesn't replace another. They line up perfectly and empower each other. Same is true with this. And this God particle just lights up the whole. If it's a skyscraper, it opens every door. There's a skyscraper with 5,000 doors, 5,000 units in it. And this one maintenance man just has the master key to open up every door. Drugs target one at a time. And here's an example of that. Here is from the Ingenuity database, and it's based on the same supplement, which I'm no longer really promoting this supplement. I used to, but not anymore. There's a 10 times better one today. But this is 19 genes associated with atherosclerosis as the beginnings of heart failure. And it's not easy to find a disease category like this where they all fit on one slide to begin with. Most of them have several slides. So this is one where we are able to fit them on all one slide. And it's the 19 genes there. You're looking at them. Now, the far left is their abbreviations. Then next to that is their descriptions. Then it's what direction the gene is expressed in the disease process. And the below the dark line, those 3 below, are actually the body's response in the right way, not creating atherosclerosis, but helping reverse it. So you don't want to oppose those. Everything above that, those 16 genes are causing atherosclerosis because of the direction that they're expressed in the disease process. Then the next column is what happens with Nerve2 activation, the direction that Nerve2 is taking them in. And this is with Dr. McCord's weakest formula, his first generation, which is the 2003 formula called Protandim. Again, I'm not promoting that. I used to. I got on it early when it first came out as a word of mouth marketing company, the company that was promoting that. And this is, just with that supplement, what happened. But it's not the supplement, it's what the supplement was activating in the body is a God particle. Because these bolded ones, half of them aren't bolded on the very left, but half of them are. That means there's a drug designed to target them. When they have an asterisk next to them, that means at least the drug goes in the right direction. And notice the 2 on the bottom those were actually COX-2 inhibitors that had to be taken off the market after killing hundreds of thousands of people in a very short period of time because, well, Big Pharma got it wrong. Not all the cards were in. They thought they were causing a problem because they were elevated in the disease process. So they decided to try to lower it and ended up finding out real quick that they'd taken the genes in the wrong direction. So they created bioweapons accidentally. Sometimes they create bioweapons intentionally. This is just a little example of some of the bioweapons that pharmaceutical companies have in their arsenal. So the thing is that Nrf2, look at, again, the what's under the title protandim. It's actually, because it's Nrf2 activator, what Nrf2 does. That's nucleus reaction factor 2, NRF2, that we just call Nrf2. It's a master key zipper protein that is the maintenance man for not just these 19 genes, but for all, basically 5,000, 100% of all the disease mechanism genes are regulated perfectly, just like you're seeing on this slide. And these numbers on the far right is the numeric fold change that Nrf2 is able to change their expression levels using the supplement that's listed there, which is now at the bottom of the list of Dr. McCord's Nrf2 activation formulas. So we have one now that's 10 times more effective. There are several second generation formulas that have come out that are far better than what you're seeing done here. See, 10 years later, there's at least 100 times more studies published because of the in the real science community with top medical schools that have been involved with these studies, like the one that I just showed you. This has sent shockwaves through the medical community. I mean, shockwaves. So in 10 years, there was 100 times more studies published. We knew at least 10 times more about it. And the first formula only targeted the first known mechanism. So within those next 10 years, we learned a couple of other mechanisms that we didn't even know existed. Now, all Dr. McCord's second generation formulas target all three of those known mechanisms, not just one. And I can explain some of this, like the maintenance man we're talking about, Nrf2, NRF2, nucleus reaction factor 2, this God particle is the maintenance man. If you can imagine where it can't go to work, literally its work is the vault we call the nucleus that holds all the genes. If it can't get in, it can't regulate the genes. And literally it's being held outside of that nucleus more and more, mostly after the age of 20. It's still that's something that we're born producing. We still produce it. It's just not going to work. It can't if it's being held outside the nucleus, right? So literally that maintenance man, he's still living, breathing, but held by another protein outside that nucleus. So first formula, it targeted the first mechanism was to get it released from that protein. If that's what we do, it can diffuse around the cell. And if it can diffuse around the cell, if it's free, it can diffuse into the nucleus. And if that's all we do, it can diffuse right back out of the nucleus too. So one of those other mechanisms that we learned is how to shut the door behind it. So it stays, once we get it in, it stays in the nucleus a lot longer. So it can tune those genes a lot better. And those numbers that you see on the right, 10 times better on average of what we're looking at in the gene expression levels. So we know that from the Ingenuity database, which is where this slide comes from. That is the database of databases. It's the number one authority on the planet. It's where the science has gone in. It compiles everything in every medical journal like PubMed. It compiles every article that's ever been published. It knows about. But then it also compiles the biggest gene databases like GenBank. And gene product databases are all different proteins like SwissProt. So all science has gone into databases. And the number one, again, authority is not human. It's a database called Ingenuity out of Japan. And that's where this slide and several others, Dr. McCord has leaked out. If you want his archive of leaked science, just private message me, direct message me. We actually have that. So this is from that database. So what you're looking at, again, this is very advanced technology. It is the most advanced way to look at what differences are being made genetically. And you're already starting to see that every one of those genes are regulated by NRF2. And every time we bring up any disease category, any disease mechanism, it's always been 100% of all of the 5,000, really. So this technology, you could say from this perspective, is 5,000 times more efficient than any drug. And it's without the long list of negative effects of any drug. It's what God gave us, what we're born producing. And we also, the third mechanism, by the way, is we stop the shutoff mechanism from happening to begin with. So, hey, there you have it. This is the 16-year anniversary date from the time that this this study was published. Let's go back to page 1. I'm just skipping faster than the screen can keep up, but going back to, again, published by the American Heart Association in their official journal, Circulation, the most powerful study I've ever seen of what solves heart failure. And now you've seen another slide from the Ingenuity database, which gives you a glimpse of why. And this is exactly the type of science that they're afraid of you figuring out. But I'm showing you their journal that they required for me to be able to talk about this. This is something the Mexican government created a whole new category for between nutraceuticals and pharmaceuticals that's never existed before. So again, between nutraceuticals, pharmaceuticals, there's this new category that's never existed before. And they gave the gold stamp of approval, allowing people to name names of diseases like heart failure and tell people exactly what's been proven and published. And that's something that we could be doing right now as well. However, I think that RFK really needs my help. So if you know how to get me in contact with him, I'm happy to help participate in completely revamping our health systems within our government. I think the FDA, it's just time for it to go bye-bye. Obviously, it's, they've made their hand more and more clear. The truth is, I'm going to show you something else too that they've known about. They've known about all these slides before and after what we're showing. This is all the disease mechanism categories from cell division and cancer on the far left that have the most genes in them to every other category. And while this was up and Dr. McCord was leaking it, I was there. And he said, and I have the video on that, something I can share with you if you listen close. He said, and NRF2 regulates 100% of all of them. So this is some of the other slides that show the newer formulas compared to the 2003 formula. Genes being upregulated versus downregulated, right? These are all upregulated on this slide. Some of the different formulas. Well, here's some things that you might be interested in, like colon cancer. There's 28 genes. Only one of those has a drug designed to target it. How many drug companies want people to know that? Because there's only one bolded there, but NRF2 just tunes them all. This is Alzheimer's. We already showed you the atherosclerosis. Alzheimer's takes 2 slides. We only had 2 diseases that could fit on 1 slide. And this is the first slide of Alzheimer's. Here's the second slide of Alzheimer's. It's 34 out of 66. This was done with the second best formula. It's a second generation formula. It's not the one that I take every day. It works about 70 to 75% as good as the one I take every day. And this is all 36 cytokines. These are associated with especially what we just dealt with from 2020. I don't want to say the name of the word of it, but you guys know there was a big cytokine buzz in being talked about during 2020. I don't want to say the name of it because I don't want my channel shut down. I don't want this video shut down. I want it to stay up. I hope that they have enough integrity to just let it stay up with the power of the science of what it is. And here we are on the anniversary date celebrating and telling you what has already been 16 years ago. They still haven't seen anything more powerful than NRF2 activation. And no drug does this, but this is what NRF2 does in downregulating the cytokine storm. Because without it, the top bar says no NRF2 activation. Basically, no. Well, what it says no, that's the second generation. That's the second best one. And this is where it says 0% reduction on the far right. So all that below the dark line is with that second best one, taking them down, basically they're quadruple in their expression without being regulated by Nrf2. And this is only the second best Nrf2 activator of Dr. McCord's. So what I take every day does an even better job than this one. This was published also in an article early 2020. Well, at least about June, I believe, is when that article was published, June of 2020. So they didn't have, very much time to whip this together. But I want to tell you that what you're seeing right now, the FDA has known about this, since at least 2014. That means they've known about it for at least 11 years. And how many years did they know about it? At least 6 years before 2020 even came, because they brought all this through their back door, and they've been super well funded by the pharmaceutical industry to help protect the pharmaceutical industry's interests. And they didn't say one word about this during what we went through during 2020 and 2021. Not one word about this. And I'm being careful not to say a specific word, but here it is. All 36 cytokines. Nothing else does this. It's less than 1% of what Nrf2 does. All of those, all the different proteins are categorized. Some of them are called cytokines. These are all gene products. These are all Ingenuity fonts that you've been seeing from these slides that I've been showing you. Now, another thing is what the big moneymaker is, or the big gold rush as of at least this year, is peptides. Those are different kind of proteins, right? And all the ones our body's born producing, guess what? Since they're all gene products, and this is the whole skyscraper dealing with our survival genes we're talking about, we have the master key for this Nrf2 God particle, it regulates the production of all those too. And some of the ones that the athletes are buying, there's a few of them that are man-made, but most of them our body is born producing. So, they're spending thousands of dollars per month. Well, they ought to at least get on the Nrf2 activation if they're going to continue to do that. Save themselves a fortune as well and just get way better results. So much more balanced when the body's doing it on its own. Nothing can replace the genetic tuning of our own body's genes to restore functionality of those cells. Nothing can replace that. Only this Nrf2 activator. So hopefully you like what you've heard. I just want to say again, this is November 2nd, 2025, and November 2nd, 2009 is when that heart study was published, the one that I've been showing you. This one, published November 2nd, 2009. Now, I had an aunt who was just starting to complain of high blood pressure. The day this came out, I got news that they were going to be making a live public announcement about what the results were, and that it was close by, only about a half an hour drive. So I told my aunt, you got to hop in my passenger seat. I'm taking you to hear what the results were. And instead of hopping on this Nrf2 activation technology, she decided that she was just going to set up an appointment with her medical doctor, see what he had to say. She died in the middle of the night with a heart attack before that first appointment ever came, and which was just less than a month. And nowadays, a lot of people are having to wait a month just to get to appointment, one appointment to another to go see a medical doctor. So sometimes it doesn't hit home until it hits home. I'm telling you this was my mom's youngest sister, who I was close friends with. And they say it's a silent killer because most of the time there's no warning. There's no tap on the shoulder, no phone call. People, most of the time, more than 50% die the first incidents. They don't get a second chance. So again, that's why they call it the silent killer. So that gives every single person out there listening a reason to learn more, to hop on this Nrf2 activation technology right away. And if you want to know the very, very best one, private message me, because I don't mess around. All right, with that, I'm going to go ahead and say aloha until next time. See you later.